Hello and welcome back to another video on the Wrestle Debate and to another edition of AEW Out of 10. Big show today. I always say that, but it is a big show today. We've got all of the fallout from last week, and before you know it, we're going to be at Double or Nothing. That's only a matter of time. We've got Anthony Go back in action. We've got John Moxley in action. But let's get kicked off with Christian Cage versus Matt Sydal. Christian Cage locked up with Sydal early on. Sydal hit a moonsault off the middle rope. Christian caught him with a boot and sent him crashing. Christian then hit back with a series of strikes, and Sydal replied with a meteora. He then rolled up an attempted spear by Christian, but it wasn't enough to put him away. Christian got his knees up as Sydal went to hit his standing twisting senton. He then hit the kill switch to pin Sydal for the win. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. A decent start to the show, really, which was enjoyable. But after the match, Ricky Starks came down and addressed Christian and Sydal. He said that he had business to settle with the former WWE star and called out the rest of Team Taz. And Hook attacked Christian and Sydal from behind. Page came out with a drink, handed it to Starks, then got in the ring. Hangman fought with Brian Cage and hopped valiantly, but Hook caught him with a chop from behind. Cage then hit Hangman for a powerbomb to close the segment. A decent start to the show. Up, it was John Moxley then Eddie Kingston versus the Acclaimed. Moxley was not a fan of Max Caster's rap early on as it was focused on Renee Tech. He charged straight at the Acclaimed as they entered the ring and took out Bowens. Mox then turned his eyes to Max Caster as they started the match as the legal men. Moxley and Kingston dominated the early stages before the Acclaimed briefly had Kingston isolated, but Moxley tagged back in and he was all over Caster and Bowens. Max hit back with a superplex before the Acclaimed hit an impressive double team manoeuvre. Caster then hit Bowens with his chain and the referee spotted it. Max tried to get involved behind the referee's back before Eddie Kingston and Moxley hit Bowens with a wheelbarrow paradigm shift to get the win. I'll give this a 6 out of 10. I guess it was kind of just simple activity in getting Moxley over. Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky were in a ring with Tony Schiavone. Sky said he used to be a big fan of Sting, but now he's just a shadow of his former self. He then ordered Sting to step aside and threatened to put the legend down on Dynamite. Ethan Page took the mic and said that Scorpio Sky had already got his message across with the heel hook. Page then added that Darby Allin had already lost the TNT title. The lights went out. We saw Sting coming out with Sky and Page distracted. Darby Allin blindsided them and attacked the duo from behind with a staples. Sting then lost in the Scorpio Deathlock on Sky, and the baby faces were left in control before we got Rebel versus Hikaru Shida. Britt Baker was at ringside. Rebel got a couple of strikes in before Britt Baker made a timely distraction from ringside, grabbing the women's title. Rebel then smashed Shida, I'm not sure which one it is, across the back with her crutch while she was back distracted. It wasn't enough to put Shida away, however, and the champion quickly forced Reba to tap out. Britt Baker attacked Shida as soon as the match ended. She took the title belt and then hit her with a stomp to leave the segment in control. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. An entertaining little build up to the women's division match at Double or Nothing. I saw footage of an interaction between Kenny Omega and Orange Cassidy. Omega was with Don Callis and they told Orange Cassidy to give up the rights to his match against Kenny Omega and pack at Double or Nothing, saying that Orange Cassidy could have his match later. Orange Cassidy decided to tear out the contract that Callis and Omega presented to him. They proceeded to ask Orange to take some time to consider it, but he didn't really. But anyway, next up, pretty much straight away after that, the Inner Circle were in the ring. Ortiz was the first to speak at AEW Dynamite, said he was ready to fight. Guevara then added that the feud between the two factions wouldn't end until Stadium Stampede was over. Hager said that if he didn't accept the Pinnacle's challenge, then the Inner Circle would be just like them, cowards. Finally, Jericho spoke. Jericho said that he was still trying to decide if facing the Pinnacle in Stadium Stampede was worth it after Blood and Guts. Jericho said physical wounds would heal, but not the image of MJF standing over him. The Inner Circle then accepted the Pinnacle's challenge, and I can't wait for that match. I flipping loved Stadium Stampede last year. Jay Cargill was then backstage with Tony Schiavone. Mark Sterling had approached Cargill and offered her his services. Cargill wasn't too happy and told him to leave. Kind of just putting Cargill over as the bad person. Not too bad at all. Next up, it was Serena D versus Red Velvet. Deeb started off strong. She was all over Red Velvet, hitting a neck breaker early on. Deeb followed it up with a series of uppercuts and strikes in the corner. Red Velvet briefly turned things around and unloaded with a series of strikes. Deeb then replied with a dragon screw and then worked onto Red Velvet's knee, but she couldn't keep Velvet down for long. The challenger took Deeb down and hit a standing moonsault. The Access spilled out to the outside as Red Velvet hit a moonsault off the apron onto Deeb, who was hit on the floor. Back in the ring with an enziguri, the Red Velvet wasn't enough to put the championship away. Red Velvet then followed out with an orange and then headed to the top rope. She went for a moonsault, but Deeb got knees up to get in control. Red Velvet managed to turn it around into an inside cradle, but Deeb kicked out and locked in the Serenity lock again, forcing the challenger to tap out. And I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. An entertaining little match, and of course the right result. Serena D just keeps on putting on bangers. Next up, it was Anthony Ogogo versus Austin Gunn. Gunn was all over Ogogo when the match started before Ogogo soon turned the tables with a nasty punt to Gunn's midsection. Gunn looked winded as the Britt caught him with a second strike to the midsection. We saw Gunn bleeding from the mouth and Ogogo caught him with a pop-up strike to the jaw. The referee called the bell to be ended. Anthony Ogogo and Cody Rhodes squared off in singles action at AEW nothing, and Ogogo said he's going to remain undefeated. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I just love the different way they're putting over Ogogo at the minute, really good. Before Miro was out next, and the new TNT champion promised to defend his title next week as he faces Deontay Martin. Miro also said that when he beats him, he's going to beat Lance Archer. Lance Archer came to confront him, and I can't wait for that match. But anyway, it was main event time. The Young Bucks versus the Varsity Blondes. Griff Garrison and Nick Jackson started as legal men. Garrison forced Nick out almost immediately before Matt Jackson came in as Brian Pillman Jr. tagged in. The Varsity Blondes traded tags and looked comfortable early on before the Young Bucks finally found the opening they were looking for as they isolated Pillman. Pillman went for a crossbody, but Matt Jackson sidestepped it. The Varsity Blondes went on to hit their powerbomb for the double team finisher, but it didn't work. Pillman Jr. then got isolated in the middle of the ring. He wouldn't go down without a fight, however, and caught Nick Jackson with a super kick. A blind tag from the Bucks and Matt Jackson locked in a sharpshooter. Garrison came in and broke the hold. Matt Jackson sprayed Brian Pillman in the eyes with a spray. He then sprayed Julia Hart, who was at ringside. Matt then locked in a sharpshooter on Pillman Jr. as the Young Bucks retained their titles. John Moxley and Kingston walked down to the ring early after the match as the Young Bucks celebrated. Moxley and Kingston locked in a simultaneous sleeper hold on the Bucks, and they lifted the championship to go off the air. I'll give this a 7 out of 10. Entertaining match, and they're building really nicely to Moxley versus Kingston. All this week, AEW Dynamite gets a 7 out of 10 from me. Yeah, pretty decent show this week. We're building really nicely on the road to Double or Nothing just a few weeks ago now, and it's all kind of heating up. Today was just kind of build a week as to ahead for the next few weeks. We haven't got an amazing card like we've seen in the last few weeks, so understandable why it wasn't quite on the same level. But anyway guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts, comments down below, and follow me on Twitter, link in the description below for daily wrestling news, and subscribe to my channel on screen right now. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.